What is up, future millionaires? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Ellie Talks Money. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about how I am running a business abroad and how you can too. So if you want to be a global entrepreneur, then this is the video for you. So grab a notebook, grab a pen, and let's get into these gems.
Ellie talks money to create the better days. Business, money, life, the Ellie way.
All right, y'all. So what you may or may not know, but you probably know, that I moved to Senegal, West Africa about 8 months ago now, officially. And I wouldn't say that we're gonna live here forever, but we'll definitely be here for at least a year or two, maybe a little more, we'll see. And really what drove this decision is, you all know I got married in 2022. My husband lives in Senegal, or he goes back and forth between Senegal and France. And, I thought, well, why don't I just move? How fun would it be to live abroad for a little bit? And we're not sure if he's gonna, move back to the US or get, the visa process started for the US, because honestly, his whole family lives in France, and that's always just been where he goes. But I thought, you know what, this could be a good opportunity for me to live abroad, for my kids to live abroad. So let's go. I've been running my business from here for the last 8 months. So I wanted to share with you guys some tips on how I'm doing it and how you can too, and what I've learned in terms of what you can do to prepare yourself, whether you have a business or even if you have a traditional job and you want to live abroad for a period of time, such as 3, 6, or 9 months, or a year or two like me, and how you can do that. So the first thing that I want to get started with, and this is probably a no-brainer, but you definitely want to check on what are the visa or stay requirements in the country you're going to. So some countries, of course, if you're a US citizen and you're watching this video, your passport gets you access into most countries without needing to have a visa. However, if you're wanting to stay longer than 90 days or 6 months, you may need to request an extended stay visa. Now, you can typically search this on the website for that particular country by checking the US embassy in that particular country, and you can find that information on Google. A lot of the time, those visas are inexpensive and relatively easy to get online. Now, for Senegal, in my own experience, my dad is Senegalese. So I also have residency here, and I'm working on my dual citizenship. So that visa requirement didn't necessarily apply for me, simply because of the fact that my husband is here, and again, I already had residency. But if I didn't have those things, yes, I would have needed an extended stay visa past the 6-month mark. So if you want to come to Senegal and you want to stay for a while, just keep that in mind. Now, the next thing that is important for you to look at is the time difference. Okay. Yes, living abroad is amazing. It's so wonderful to experience another culture. And, the cost of living is fantastic, especially compared to what we're dealing with in the US, where so many costs are inflated. But you do want to choose where you go wisely, especially when you're considering the time difference. So from Los Angeles to Senegal, it is an 8-hour time difference. And from the East Coast, like New York to Senegal, it's about 4 or 5 hours, depending on if we're doing the, hour ahead or hour back. So it isn't terrible, but the reason I mention you want to keep this in mind is if you are going to be traveling with your 9 to 5 and you have a, virtual job that allows you to work from home, you want to make sure that when you're clocking into work, it's not like 4 o'clock in the morning, okay? Or when you're clocking out, it's not 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's something to consider. In addition, if you are an entrepreneur and you want to still work with your clients, you want to provide your products, you want to post your content, things of that nature, you want to ensure that you can project what that time difference will be. So you'll know, okay, if I normally would take a client at 6 p.m., well, now I need to be cognizant of the fact that that might be 11 p.m. So for me, that was what really presented kind of the biggest challenge in adjusting to living in Senegal, is my days were so much later. My first meeting would be around 3 p.m. Senegal time, which used to be 8 a.m. LA time for me. So I'm just starting my day, my first meeting at 3 o'clock, So here in Senegal, I've been up for the whole day, basically just sitting around the house waiting to work. And then my last activity of the day, whether it be a class or going live or finishing up some work, is at 11 p.m. or midnight. And so I'm still getting back on a good sleep schedule, but for that first few months, I wasn't going to bed until 2, 3, sometimes 4 a.m. simply because that's when I was finishing work, and then I would wake up, late, or wake up at 12 or 11, wait to start my day. So, that presented a little bit of an adjustment period for me. So that's definitely a tip I would recommend for you, is to consider that early. Start to prepare yourself for what that adjustment will be like, so that when it comes, it doesn't throw you off as much as it threw me off, okay? So let's get into the next tip. Now, what I want to mention here with this tip is I get a lot of questions on things like taxes, what you're going to do with your business while you're abroad, does anything change? And what I want you to understand is, as long as your business is still operating and receiving funds in the US, for example, if you make a sale on your product, it goes into your US-based bank account, you're going to continue paying your taxes like you would. I still pay my taxes in the US, even though I'm currently living here. Now, in your new country that you are living in, you're only going to need to pay taxes in the new country you live in if you are earning money in that country. So one of the things that I'm working on here is actually opening a business with my husband here in Senegal. He is already an entrepreneur here, so he, already handles his taxes as a result of living in this country. But if I were to start a business here and start earning money here, then yes, I would pay taxes here as well. So that's one thing I want you to understand. Now, of course, some countries have, sales tax, right? So when you go to the store, the little tax that's added on, completely normal. But in terms of living there and, paying your rent there, you're not going to have to pay taxes as a, earning citizen because you aren't earning money there. Now, one thing that may be beneficial for you is to consider opening a bank account in the country that you're living in, simply because it can make your transfer fees a little less. If you're always using your US account to pay for things, those transfer fees or international fees can add up. So instead, you can move money over to your account based on the country you're in, spend money from there, and then you're saving a lot on those transfer fees. So that's something I want to address with you guys in terms of, taxes, regulations. But go ahead and comment down below, what other questions do you have about this? And I can definitely make a part 2. Now, I have 2 more tips that I want to share with you guys when it comes to being a global entrepreneur and what you should consider if you're thinking about making the move to live abroad. Another thing that is really important is to visit that country first, okay? Definitely visit. Now, I am half Senegalese, so I've been to Senegal numerous times throughout my life. I love it here. I have family here. So for me, coming wasn't really as scary as it may be if you are someone who's never been to a country in Africa or who's never been abroad at all. Now, as a business owner, you going to book that trip to essentially scope out the scene is a tax write-off, okay? It's a tax deduction. So I would highly encourage you to plan a trip to a country where you might be thinking about potentially living or staying long-term. That way you can kind of get familiar. And while you plan that trip, I recommend looking for a local network. So, I got a little bit lucky because my husband here works with a lot of Americans just through his businesses. And so as a result, I was able to get plugged in with a group. We're called Sisters in Dakar. And it's a lot of American women that are here based and their families that are here based. And so we have a large group chat where we just share information. But that's definitely something I would encourage you to find. And it's a lot easier than you can imagine. If you visit the country, or even before you visit, go on Facebook and search for, Americans in blank country or women in blank country. And I'm telling you, you will find a group, even if it's just 100 or 200 people that exist in that particular region, because it's natural for people to want to build community, especially if they're in a place where they are technically the outsider, if you will, or they are new to that space. So finding that network can really assist you and give you a great resource of people to be able to answer your questions, help you get familiar with some things, and go from there. So I want you guys to do two things. Number one, go ahead and click on the link to my quiz, a free quiz that I've created for you to discover your path to your first million. And it's got some great tips and recommendations for what you can do to grow and scale your business right now. Second thing is I want you to comment below, what questions do you have about this? What more can I give you guys and show you guys about what it's been like living abroad and running my business abroad, so I can help you if this is something you want to do too. Comment that below and I will make sure to incorporate that into the next video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, definitely do that, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.